Hi, it's Helen Tarrant. And welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. I'm actually in Albury, and we're just Albury's that town that borders up Wodonga, and you know that Victoria's just gone into lockdown, and so it's a bit of a funny time at the moment in Albury because they're getting some people coming through from New South Wales, but they're missing a lot of people coming through from the Victoria side. But the main thing to talk about today is about looking at developments for commercial versus residential. In commercial and residential, say if you're looking at green fields and a piece of land here. Now, there's lots and lots of things you need to do, invest in terms of the research, but there's things to look at in terms of the water, the power, the sewerage on the site. But also apart from that, looking at rate per square metre, I like to compare when I look at industrial land, which is what I'm seeing at the back. Let's go and have a look at this one. This one's about 12,000 square metres, so it's massive. I like to see what other green fields are around here, and look, this is just an example. There's lots and lots of other green fields across the road. They've got a new industrial estate being created, 54 hectares here. This is just a private sale, and mainly the reason I'm here is to look at the land. Look at what else has been built beside it, how much of it on this strip is barren. Like, we've got a warehouse behind us that we're looking at heavy industry here. There are excavators, we've got steel manufacturers behind us, we've got this land in between. There's some trees obviously need to be removed, but there's lots and lots of green fields. So you've got to look at that and look at, okay, if I buy this property, the rate per square metre, is that going to go up in the next 12 months? How much of that is it going to be absorbed? Is there going to be oversupply if I do a development here? Because what do I want to put here that is going to justify it? So does that mean that I might be looking at industrial? See, next door we have major industrial warehouses, which could be anywhere from like 1,000 to 3,000 square meters. I could possibly look at putting 3 tenants on here at 1,500 square meters each, and more, but of course they'll probably need a yard. Alternatively, I could build 20 or 30 tilt slabs, but how much is that do I need to invest in, and what do they sell for in the local area? What is the demand? So in order for us to establish the demand, we'll go for a drive and go and see what other places are around on this strip, on this side, and in this industrial area. Now, we're in this part of Albury, we're just near the airport. It is heavy industry, so there's lots and lots of large format industrial, but also manufacturing as well, but also we've got some trades here as well. So there is, they capitalise a huge area of farming, as well as all the trades that come through from Wodonga and the building in this area, and logistics as well, and freight. So there's many avenues to this, but also if you're comparing this for a residential, if you're going to looking at a residential development, you do something similar to that. You'll go and look at a piece of land, you look at what other developments are around there, so you'll look at other houses, especially what they sold for, so you can compare your piece of land, maybe perhaps if there was a developer locally, what their other pieces of land are selling for, and when it's subdivided, whether all the services are there, and how much the building cost would be, and how much is the end sale, and whether you're going to be able to get 20-30% uplift or not is entirely your decision. But if you're not, then you might be taking too much risk in terms of doing a development. So that's something to consider. Because if I was doing a development in commercial, I'll be also talking to a town planner. So you'll need to do that. I probably suggest to do that if you're doing that in residential as well. Look at also the timeline it takes, because in commercial, remember, we don't have to do fit outs for the tenant. So all we're doing is basically external and keeping the inside maybe with a mezzanine floor from doing industrial, and the floor's just concrete and bare shell. Whereas in residential, you've got to consider how much it's going to cost you to do internal fit out in terms of the kitchen, the bathroom, like the walls, the painting, the lighting, all of that. Well, we don't have to think about that in commercial. So you got to think about whether that is going to impact on your cost ultimately, especially when you're comparing a build cost in terms of commercial and residential, because Ultimately, it all comes down to profitability. If I could get a 30% profit out of a commercial build, and I know that the moment I'm built, I can sell it because there's a demand in the area, then for me, when I compare that with residential, where it might be a 9-month build, and potentially some holding costs and some competition, then I might choose commercial over that. But everything's totally up to you, but you just got to think about all the way up all of the facts in there as well. But let's go for a drive so we can see what's around the area so you can get an idea. So we've driven around a little bit, and we've seen mostly large format warehousing, except for this one here, which is quite interesting. We've passed 2 tilt slabs. This one has 2 large ones at the front, 2 smaller ones at the back, and you can see that it has lots of little storage ones, which I think they're about anywhere from 50 to 70 square meters. So this is a gated strata property, so this is quite interesting, and what you look at this is really gentrification in an area, and when areas start to have these kind of builds, you start to notice that the property and the value of land starts to go up. But you have to compare the build of this, because this is a tilt slab build in comparison to your larger formal warehouses, what you're going to rent it out for, and then ultimately make a decision of which one you want to go for, and whether if you're going to buy a large enough industrial site of 8, 9, 10,000 square meters, how you're going to divvy up that site. But obviously you're buying at a very low rate. If you're buying it at 50 or 60 square meters and you can sell it for 80 square meters, that's definitely something you want to consider. Similarly, like if you were looking at residential and you were thinking that possibly you want to do the same, you want to see some historic sales, you want to look at the area to see if the prices are going up per square meter, and look at what you could sell it for, because it's all about the end result and what the uplift is about. So if you enjoyed that and you want to find out more, and you want us to help you find a site for building, or looking to participate with other like-minded people in a development, reach out to me at helentarrant.com, hit the bell, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.